I never thought this day would come. Well, I'm gonna regret what I did. I really regret voting for this guy. I'm working on this program for the Sound Power phones batteries. We're researching these batteries for these Sound Power phones, and they cut off our funding. It is really sad. You get to the office and they tell you, we're no longer going to fund your research for these batteries for these Sound Power phones. And what makes me sad is that these batteries were going to make such an impact on the lives of our deployed troops, especially the sailors out there. And these are for vital communications on board ships. So I truly regret now my vote. And I hope more people speak up just like I did.
For the last 5 years, I've invested my whole life into finding out if, in fact, the early bird does get to worm. And now because of Trump, I'm out of a job. I voted myself into unemployment. Oh, God.
I regret my vote. I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump. And now, in the first few weeks of his presidency, thousands of people are losing their jobs. I lost my job. I was the director of operations of bear studies. For the last 4 years, we've been studying whether or not bears in fact shit in the woods. And now it's gone. It's all gone. What am I supposed to tell my family? What am I supposed to tell them? If you voted for Trump, I don't even know what to say. Except fuck you. All the money being taken, and all the jobs being lost. I don't know what to do.
Told that if I voted for Donald Trump, he was going to take my rights away. So that's literally why I voted for him. But I still have my license and I still have all of my rights. So I'm really wondering when that happens. Is that going to happen today? Does it happen on day 3? Is he going to be developing some department of taking women's rights away? Anyway, I'm really disappointed because I still have all my rights.
So I'm still upset about my vote for Donald Trump. Everybody knows I got fired from the research and development that I was doing. I got up every morning like everybody else does. I put my right foot in, and then I put my right foot out, and then I shook it all about. And I did the hokey pokey because that's what I thought it was all about. Then our research got terminated. I got fired. Still regretting that vote for Donald Trump. That's all I know. That's all it's about.
So I was laid off from work today, and it's a lot.
Okay, so this is hilarious. I just saw this white lady on here complaining that she just lost her job because she was hired under the diversity, equity, and inclusion program at her work. And you can see she didn't want to say it, but she really wanted to be like, but I'm not black. But that's not what diversity, equity, inclusion meant. The #1 recipient of DEI hires is white women.
I just want to go on the record saying that all the people posting, oh, I regret voting for Trump. Everything that y'all are commenting are things that were told, either posted online or probably told to you personally. So no one gives a fuck. And the people who still are on the Trump bandwagon, y'all are so fucking stupid and uneducated, and it's absolutely sad. And I can say that as someone who has someone in my family who's still a Trump supporter who posts shit all the time about Trump, and it's like they don't even realize it's negatively affecting them, and it's sad. And the people who regret it, nothing, I don't feel bad for y'all. And I do hope it hurts your pockets, your life, your children, your everything. Because when you're told something and then you go against it, you don't get to just skip over the consequence of that. So I do hope it affects your life negatively. Because for me, I don't need to fuck around and find out because I always make shit happen. Y'all the ones that are gonna suffer. Not
The fact that a lot of white women thought that DEI meant minority or black people, that it didn't include them, is the funniest thing to me. Because white women are DEI hires majority of the time. They benefit from DEI initiatives. So the fact that you would vote against your own interests and then get upset that this is happening to you is just like hilarious to me. What do you mean you didn't realize that you were the diversity hire? Like, you're a woman and you think that you have an equal playing field in this game as a white man? The fact that we have this program set in place stops companies from discriminating against you based off your gender. So I just don't understand why you would think that, oh my God, I'm in the same playing field as a white man, because you never will be. You actively voted against your rights to appease white men, and you're going to pay the consequences for that. DEI does not just mean black people. As a white woman, that also affects you.
Anytime I hear Michelle or Barack Obama speak, I feel a deep anger, and it's not what you think. I feel a deep visceral reaction to my shame and guilt and just overall FOMO, because I had 2 opportunities to vote for him, and both times I leaned instead on my ignorance and pride and overall, I'm a Republican, and I didn't get a chance to be part of, first of all, voting for arguably one of the most successful presidencies in our lifetime. Second of all, just the collective effervescence, the hope, and overall just goodness that they stood for. And now, more than ever, I am feeling the magnitude of that, because mark my words, I promise you, if you are or already have voted for Trump, you will experience this visceral shame years down the road, because we are facing 2 realities. The first reality is that you vote for Trump and it works and he wins. The second is if you vote for Trump and Kamala wins. And in both realities, you will feel a sense of shame, because if the first one takes place, in the best case scenario, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of how scary this could actually get. This is best case scenario here. He wins, he instills his tariffs and his tax plans that he's been talking about, which will cripple the economy as we know it. The things that you buy today on Amazon, more than likely, they're all coming from overseas. So expect to pay up to 20 to 60% more for everything that's in your current Amazon shopping cart. That is facts. Second of all, if he does go through with his mass deportation plan, that will decimate our economy. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about the rights that will be taken away from women and marginalized communities, since people that are voting for Trump clearly don't care about that anyway and only care about their bank accounts and immigrants, evidently. Remember, these are all best case scenario here. And you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be thinking, oh shit, I did this. I'm responsible for this. Then the other scenario is that you vote for Trump and Kamala wins. She's going to create an economy that's going to embolden the middle class to buy houses, start businesses. She's going to put restrictions on the corporations who currently today, they're the ones that are scooping up all of these single family households the second they go onto the market, and they have cash. Why do you think the market is so distorted right now? It's because it's unnatural. Corporations are one of the #1 homeowners in America because they snatch homes up and then they sell them at a profit, which just then jacks up all of the pricing around in the areas. So Kamala is going to put restrictions on that. She's also going to put regulations as far as your grocery bill and your utility bill and just all around cost of living needs that we have. She's going to put regulations on basic goods for that. She's going to help us. And everything that you guys are complaining about as far as immigration and safety, she's going to put stipulations in place to create a safer border and a more efficient path to citizenship. We'll be living in this economy that you did not vote for, that you did not support, and you're going to say, oh man, I really regret not voting for her. She was right. She turned it around. You are not just casting a vote, you are helping create a legacy. Which side of history do you want to be on? You don't want to be on the side where I'm at, watching the Obamas making these amazing speeches and doing these amazing things and leaving this awesome legacy and knowing that I was a part of actively voting against it. That sucks. It really sucks. Now, all of this, of course, is provided that you have more emotional intelligence of, say, like a squirrel, and you have basic empathy and self-awareness, in which case this all applies. And if you don't, this doesn't apply to you anyway. But if you haven't and are still on the fence about Trump, I promise you, if you vote for him, you're going to regret it. And you're going to have to live with yourself for the rest of your life, knowing that you voted for somebody that destroyed our country.
MAGA regret is a trend. And just like buyer's remorse, I anticipated that this would happen. There was no way that people willingly made this decision and they were actually fully educated in their decision. They considered all options. They considered all possibilities. They considered the impact that this could potentially have, or they even glanced at 2025, Project 2025. They didn't. And so some of this was about, and so I get it. Do I feel like the government entity as a whole might not always benefit the American people? Yes, I do think that. Do I feel like sometimes politicians trump regular average people like me and you? Yes. Do I think that people attach themselves to the idea and concept of the fact that a billionaire could potentially run America better than politicians? Yes. And I think that what people did was attach themselves to the dream that they could potentially have access to that amount of money, that they could potentially get into this environment where Trump was going to change the status quo of how we live, how we eat, how we breathe, how we operate as a country, and how the government operated specifically. I think that he led with that because that was the emotional appeal that he could attract so many different people. Even after he disrespected so many different nationalities, said so many different offensive things, has been in very compromising situations when it comes to women as well. Y'all still voted for him. And so now I'm starting to see all these videos that are, it's like a trend where it's like MAGA regret. And so there's all these people that are going through the reasons why they are regretting voting for Donald J. Trump and how they didn't understand that whatever decision making he was going to make, that it would impact things that are so closely related to what they need, what they depend on, what they do on a daily basis, maybe even their employment, their livelihood, the employment, livelihood, and dependency of their loved ones, whatever it is. I stand in solidarity with the 92% and say, we told you so. And the thing that I'll continue to say and scream to the mountaintops until I can't say it anymore is the hate of the black woman is so strong that you will willingly sign up to jeopardize your livelihood, your normalcy, the livelihood and normalcy of so many other people, your ability to live comfortably. You would give all that up versus allowing a black woman to be in charge. The funny thing about all of this is America knows it more than anything that black women are the most powerful people on this planet. And the problem with that is if we allow the black woman in the White House, we empower black women across the world to stand flat-footed, take charge, and start running things everywhere. We'll start to see a movement. We'll start to see black women rising up in all types of leadership positions. We'll start to see those timid black women, they'll find their voice. They'll find their power. They'll find their strength. But they don't want that to happen. that's a movement that they want to prevent as much as possible. But 92%, I know we got something brewing. I know it's coming. Just wait and see, babe.
Message for Donald Trump on behalf of the 70 or so million Americans who voted for Kamala Harris. Prove us wrong. You knew damn well Haitians weren't eating people's pets in Ohio, but you said it anyway to scare people. You gave us a Supreme Court that came after women's rights before you even knew what IVF stood for. You insulted Kamala Harris's intelligence after she beat your ass in a debate so bad your own vice presidential candidate had to tell you, don't worry, no one cares. You tanked the border bill on purpose so you could run on anti-Hispanic racism. Your own economists will tell you that inflation has been flat for well over a year, but you blamed Biden for it anyway, and you know that only a depression would bring prices back down. You know the GDP has grown faster under Biden over the last 4 years than it ever did on your watch. You know that tariffs are going to blow up the household budget of every single middle-class family in the United States, but you lied about them anyway. And you know that it was your negligence and your mismanagement that resulted in your catastrophic loss in 2020, but you let your terrorist followers attack our Capitol anyway, resulting in 4 police officers getting hurt so bad they took their own lives. Well, congratulations. Just like in 2016, you're inheriting a booming economy that a Democratic president built. And just like in 2016, you're bringing a Republican House and a Republican Senate to back you up at every turn. The massive burden of running this country correctly is now in your lap. Are you going to fuck it up again? Or are you going to dare to actually prove us wrong and do something that is worth a shit?
A county that overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump is about to lose its largest employer directly because of Donald Trump's policies. Now, this is Greene County, Tennessee, which is home of Artisan and who is the only supplier of penny blanks to the U.S. Mint. And because of Donald Trump's policy to eliminate the penny, they are on the verge of going out of business, which means everybody there will lose their job. Now, there's a trickle-down effect because the people that work there make the money to keep the other businesses in the county in operation. Now, they're begging Donald Trump, please, to reconsider this decision to eliminate the penny, but Donald Trump isn't listening. And once again, we find people that supported Donald Trump that are feeling the effects of his policies, that are starting to feel the hurt, and I could not be happier for them. This is what they deserve. We're all going to be in the find out phase, but it does put a little bit of a smile on my face that the people who were warned, the people who should have been able to see who he was, are feeling it first. A Trump supporter has just lost their job directly because of Donald Trump's policies, and they are in a state of confusion. They are reaching out to Donald Trump for help and thinking that this should not have happened to them. Take a look at this. This person says, my wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home, spent thousands to move from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze, the VA rescinded her job offer. Now look at what's highlighted. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. What do you mean it was unintended? Did they really believe that Donald Trump could create policies that would only affect non-Trump voters, that somehow Trump voters wouldn't be caught up in all of this? This is the find out phase. This is exactly what you voted for, someone who would sow chaos. And it's not just going to affect the people you don't like, it will affect you too. And now all I can think is that this guy and his family are singing, I never thought.
Well, you guys, it happened. Lost my job today after 13 years. Never thought a president could affect me this much. Never. Donald Trump. Guess now we'll never know how many licks it takes to get to the senator of the Tootsie Pop roll. Fuck!
This may be the last issue that Republicans, Democrats, and independents actually agree on, which is why I shouldn't be surprised Trump figured out a way to shit on it. That is that auto manufacturing is and should always be a core part of the American identity and the American economy, which is why it's so infuriating that a key American CEO just said he may have to lay off American workers because of Trump's policies. This is not just about tariffs. Yes, American-made vehicles are often made with foreign parts, especially electric vehicles, which are made with parts that aren't even available in the United States. Those tariffs are going to add to the problem, but these cuts are specifically because Trump wants to roll back Biden-era incentives for green energy development. Incentives American companies have already used to justify expansion and hiring. Incentives, I have to point out, are absolutely essential for American manufacturers, specifically in the electric space, because they are competing with Elon Musk, who makes his Teslas in China. This is all happening because Trump has a fundamental misunderstanding of how the free market works. By making it more expensive for American car companies to make electric vehicles here, he's giving a huge opportunity to auto manufacturers in Japan and South Korea, who are not subject to our tariffs, to build and sell electric vehicles here cheaper than we can make ourselves. Those manufacturers can then charge more because Americans can't compete at that low price point. This is going to get so bad so fast that Trump is going to have to roll it back, leaving all of this nothing more than a messy failed distraction, costing millions of dollars, costing thousands of jobs, and damaging the economy and the job market at a time when we need stability most.
It's been, what? It's been like 2 weeks? 2 weeks. I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote? In 2 weeks, I went from the highest high to being unemployed. Lost my job last night, got a phone call. The repercussions of what Elon Musk are doing with the USAID has real repercussions for real people. For the last 7 years, I have been a shift lead on Project Bus, where we studied to find out if the wheels on the bus went round and round or not. And all of a sudden, Elon, who's not even elected, gets in, and I'm out of a job. What do I tell my family? What do I tell my kids? This isn't a joke. This USAID stuff is not a joke, man. It's affecting real people. And the worst part is, what if we've never figure out? What if we never figure out if in fact the wheels on the bus do go round and round? There's nobody.
We have some big news right now. While you were sleeping, a federal judge in New York handed Donald Trump and Elon Musk a huge loss in court. A judge blocked any access to any Treasury Department payment system for Elon Musk and any Doge employee, any special government employee, any political appointee. The federal judge did this temporarily, at least until February 14th, until another judge can hear the full merits of a case pending filed by a number of states' attorneys general. The federal judge also immediately ordered anyone who has had access to destroy any and all documents and records associated with their access. This decision was handed down at like 3 a.m. in the morning and is a significant loss for Elon Musk and Doge, because even though they may have only had, quote, read-only access for a period of time, 2 Doge employees did have access to sensitive Treasury Department payment system. And well, now they're not allowed to. A federal judge is completely blocking that. I'll do a full breakdown of what this all means on my Substack this morning, so be sure to subscribe to the link in my bio. As always, comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along to stay updated on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
We are going to play defense. There are 2 special elections that are going to happen in Florida in April. And if we can win those 2 seats, we can tie up the House of Representatives and we can stop every piece of legislation that the Trump administration tries to put through. Now, I'm going to tag Hawk. He's a friend of mine on TikTok. Him and his brother are coming up with a comprehensive plan of action items that we can do to help in this special election. Please go follow him, but I'll be sharing as many of his tips as possible. So 10%, less than 10% of registered voters show up to special elections. So even though these areas are deeply red, we can win them. We can win these seats if we actually show up. So the first thing I want you to do is to call the DNC, 202-863-8000. I want you to call them and tell them you want them to put money and resources towards these 2 races, because right now they've done nothing. And we need to advocate for these 2 seats. So please share this video, follow along. You can follow Hawk, and we will come back with more and more tips that you can do. But make this phone call today. Thank you.
Thanks to Trump, 17 years down the drain. Got walked out yesterday by 2 security guys who have been saying hello to for like 10 years. Senior analyst, almost $100,000 a year. Day and night studying for these people, figuring out, like under a microscope, how much a woodchuck could chuck, if a woodchuck could chuck. Apparently, Donald Trump doesn't think that's important anymore. Thanks, Don.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. I'm your host, Marcos. You may be watching this video for the first time. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Remember to comment, like, and share my videos. Now, since Trump joined office, a lot has changed and crises have been everywhere. So it is shocking even to see his people are now crying because they are saying that since he joined office, a lot has changed in the US. Things are not the same anymore. And you have heard some of them speak, you have heard their stories. They're claiming that the cost of living is really high. It has increased. The price of things has changed and a lot of things have rose up. So people are really crying, people are really losing their jobs because Trump has stopped many aids. He has stopped very many things. He has controlled many things. So people are really losing their jobs. People are crying. The US, you have seen some of them, they're claiming that they have lost their job. They don't know what even they're gonna tell their families because they will not be working anymore. So they're regretting even voting for him. Some of them are really regretting voting for him. And that is the sad part. The sad part about these stuff, because when our leaders are requesting for votes, they are always very good, they are always very promising, they are always obedient, they are always full of hope. So when we put them in office, then boom, things change. Life changes and everything changes. And this has not only happened in the US, even here in my country it has happened. Since we voted for our president, things have really changed and we are just crying. So I think we are just birds of the same feather. So a lot have changed in the US and people are really crying. So I don't know how things gonna be in that place, but as long as Trump is on, he's really serious. You've seen he promised a lot of things. You've seen he's stopping a lot of things. Many African countries are crying. Many people in the US are crying. So a lot has really changed. So for those of you who wanted to go to the US, I think these are things you should be seeing. These are things you should be considering. Things are not the same in that place anymore. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Until my next video, one love.